Secret friends, unite!
Welcome to the Secret Friends Unite podcast, episode 447. This is your guide to the geek side, and I am one of your hosts, Todd Oxtra, whose team has finally beat another team. We beat the Bears.
Yay! The really are the Bears terrible this year? Is that
the Bears? They were both they were both 1-4, and it was like, who can win two games? And
1-4. Oh, where are the Lions at right now? You know, I don't.
The Lions are in first place. They're one of the best teams.
Stop it!
No,
I knew they had some early. I knew they had some early victories, but yeah, is this like, you know, is this coming of the apocalypse? What's next? The Jets? Aren't the Jets always really bad? That's always
the Jets did win a Super Bowl, and our guest Chris can probably speak to the fact that his two teams, it's the Giants that have been the most successful team from the New York area. So
not this year, but yeah.
Oh my goodness, this is way more sports talk than I'm privy to. But
yes,
I was just thrilled to hear something good about the Lions.
Yes. So also joined by Charlie Carden. You've heard his voice.
You've heard it, you've learned to fear it, and you love it.
Yes. And also joined by a guest this is your third time on SFU, Chris, I believe. Mr. Chris John.
Mr.
Chris from 1 Hour, One Decision, a show where they sometimes win and sometimes lose based on the game that's decided for them.
Oh boy.
Yes, it is. Thank you guys for having me on again. I'm excited to talk.
My goodness, awesome.
Chris, the last time we had you on was for Flash, the review that we all kind of enjoyed.
Cinema's greatest disaster.
Maybe we cursed that. I don't know, but we brought you back for another movie for week 2 of Shocktober, or week 3. Is this week 3? Week 3. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, well, because I think we came out, because it's a 5-week month or some such.
Yeah.
Because we came out just like that. But yeah, no, I am fired up. But let me grab the mic, as they say in rap parlances, and talk a little bit about the fact that we are in day 105 of the SAG-AFTRA actor strike. They've had some serious reverses dealt to them lately. It was not a good week last week, and I don't think that's one of the stories we're touching upon. But what I gave you the headline is that things really did fall apart. So very sad news. Well, we're very glad that the WGA strike did come to end. These actor folks are still fighting for their livelihood, to be able to get kind of paid what they need to make ends meet. As we always say, of course, we stand with them in solidarity. But please do visit entertainmentcommunity.org and donate if you are able to help out.
Yes.
That would be amazing.
Yes, and the people that help us out are our Patreons, our Patreon Secret Friends Squad. Oh my goodness! If you're interested in becoming a patron, just checking out, we've got a 1-week trial. Check it out there. You can get everything we do under the sun. But the people that are always smart to do so are our friends with benefits: Corey and HD, John Sedorf, Phoenix Sisters Cosplay, and Brendan Myers, and our BFFs Sean, Stella, and Henry Nias, and Andy Milliken. And a shout out to Chris. Chris, you are also a member of our Patreon, so thank you so much.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I love what you guys do.
Have you been sampling any of the shows? Do you have a favorite? Please say my show. Please say my show.
All the shows are great.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, you know how to keep a spouse happy.
I love it.
Or children.
I guess. Yes. My the Facts Geek Life show, I'm coming up to have the first one that Todd's going to be on. We're going to be talking about the 1990 sci-fi show Sliders. We're recording that next week. So you'll be seeing that probably in November. So yeah, it's a fun show. We take a classic series and a season. We choose 3 or 4 episodes and we just break it down. We have a good time. We've done a lot of great ones. We're doing Battlestar Galactica right now. I'm doing that with my pal Peter. We've done Batman 66 with my buddy John Snedeker. So we have fun.
It's a good time, and we just had a new spinner rack on Friday, another spooky show, American Vampire, spooky comic, American Vampire. We both enjoyed that one, so check it out to learn more about that. But we got some work to do, and Chris, you're along for the ride for our homework, which is to give one of our Patreons a superpower. This week it's Mr. John Sedorf. So, Chris, just the rules are anything you want it to be, can be a good, bad, or indifferent type of superpower. So with that, I will start to give you both some time. So John Sidorf. I think I've determined who this person is. So I've determined that this person's superpower will be they will always get first pick in their fantasy football draft. Now, that could be a curse or a blessing, but that's what you get. You're always number one pick for your fantasy football draft. Hopefully you enjoy that, and if you pick wrong, don't blame me.
Well, that's an easy follow-up. He was getting the first pick in the football draft. I say he also gets last pick at kickball. I mean, that's definitely a curse. But why not?
Last picked or last kick?
Last kick, that's better. Then that's a blessing. Last pick, not so much. Last picked, yeah, probably not. Because then you get the pity like, we'll take John Sidorf.
Aw, poor John.
Aw, sorry, John.
Last kick, so he's got to be the cleanup guy. He's got to be the one. The pressure's on him to perform now. So he's got that, Charlie. So you've kind of cursed him there.
Oh, boy. Yeah, well, it sounds like he's not doing so good. Maybe Chris can take this one home and be the savior.
Oh, man. Superpower for John Sidorf. The power to just make everyone happy.
Oh God!
Come on, get happy. He's got
no pressure there either.
Like Star Fox from the Eternals. Ooh. Yeah.
Well, not sexy.
Well, PG.
Yeah, that's you're referring to. We watched Rocky Horror not that long ago. So that's Brad. You're like Brad. I feel sexy. I don't think so.
He makes everyone smile. That's a good. I like that. Yeah.
Isn't that already what we do? Well, I'll tell you what's making me smile. And again, thank you, Patreons. Do visit patreon.com/secretfriendsunite for that 1-week trial. But segueing over to April of 1982. Now, Todd, I'll be honest with you. I always thought that this was fake because you see so many of them
team ups, the fake team up comics,
that are fake team ups. But this is a DC Comics Presents issue number 47. 47 again is the classic Star Trek Buzz number, and it's also the name of my podcast, my Star Trek podcast, Code 47, and my license plate if you ever see me driving around Michigan. But yes, this is issue 47 of DC Comics Presents with Superman and the Masters of the Universe. Now, Skeletor from the Masters of the Universe in recent years has become the victim of several very distasteful Facebook groups, which I adore. Of disgusting
Skeletor,
memes. Evil Skeletor.
Memes.
And him and Evil Lynn and all the gang just doing unspeakably disgusting things that we're not going to talk about here. But anyway, we've got Skeletor background. He's standing in front of Castle Grayskull to the side. I love it how Castle Grayskull now has air defense.
It's always had those. It's always had those guns on top. It had Point Dread.
But again, it just kind of seems weird to me because there's not really other guns yet. There is, there's anti-aircraft. So that's, but was there is an aircraft because didn't one of the guys have like Air Raider? Wasn't that?
Yeah, you have the Sky Swifts. You've got different things. Yeah, it's a weird mix of like technology and magic.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Weird. So anyway, Skeletor. Superman is having a thought bubble because Skeletor is controlling him with a sword. As long as Skeletor magically controls me, I must attack He-Man, and that means I could die. Really, bro? I mean, maybe he's on a planet with the, yellow sun? Because he gets the red sun, the yellow sun. So is he depowered? Yeah, I don't get it. Anyway, from Eternia with death. Terrible.
Yeah, so one of Superman's weaknesses is magic. So He-Man is a magical character.
Oh, got it.
He's susceptible to that. And a fun fact about this comic book, it is essentially like Marvel Team Up, where it's Superman teams up with someone every issue.
Oh, very good. Okay.
This is
Marvel Team Up.
This is He-Man's first comic appearance ever. And this is right before the show launched, but it basically launched when the toy line did. So this was like all advertising, but the fact that it was with a DC comic, which didn't have any ties to DC at the time, was really interesting.
It's bizarre. So, you don't really see how it could take off because I'm some kid in the comic store looking at the spinner rack or whatever, and I like Superman, but I'm like, oh man, I get DC Comics Presents everyone Superman, and what is this? Yeah, it'd be very bizarre. Because even Castle Grayskull looks kind of not quite right. It's just like it's a little too wide. The mouth's half hanging open. It's weird.
Looks more like the toy. I mean, than anything.
Oh, the
Yeah.
toy, my great white buffalo. You've heard my story. I'm not telling it again.
I own Castle Grayskull. Now, Chris, you're like I said, you and I were talking before. I asked your age, so you don't have to divulge that. But you're a little bit, you're kind of out of our generation. You're the
Right.
next generation, which we couldn't determine if it's Gen Y. But was He-Man in your wheelhouse at all?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I grew up with that for sure, and seeing and so the Kevin Smith thing that happened.
Yeah.
That was
Revelations, great show.
Revelations. Yeah, and I know that was kind of controversial at some points, but anyway, so be
Yeah.
it. But yeah, the toys and Skeletor and calling everyone a boob, that's all great. Stuff, so
Evelyn, I thought her name was Evelyn.
Yeah, I love it. If you've got a chance, check out Unemployed Skeletor. It's a great video series as well. He's hilarious too. Kind of a guy who needs to probably get in shape wearing the Skeletor costume, so he's kind of got a belly, which is weird if you're a skeleton and you've got a gut. It doesn't make any sense.
How does it come from? Oh my God. Well, one person who definitely keeps it lean, keeps it real, even at this age, that would be 123 years young. Talking about Madam Webb, our senior news correspondent down at the corner of Hollywood and Vine, ready to give us the latest scoops from New York Comic-Con. So let's do it.
Now it's time for Madam Webb's rumors and news. Take it away, boys.
Thank you, Madam Webb. Oh my goodness, Madam Webb. I know you're so excited. We're in spooky season. You're picking out your costumes. You unfortunately are at a size -1.
Oh,
so at that
no.
time, it puts you essentially in the preteen section, which is not good for you because you're kind of lanky too. So you're going to kind of look like a weirdo where you got like the high waters and the short, and it's just not going to be looking good when you're showing up as let's see, who could she be this year? Have you heard of what she's going to be this year, Charlie?
Olive Oil, I think, sounds like a natural fit for that.
That would be a
particular-
good fit, but I think she's trying to be Jessica Rabbit, which is just
I don't think that
won't have the
beanpole's
proportions.
Gonna fill that deal out. All right. Well, as I mentioned back in segment 1, this is the week of New York Comic-Con, so we've got a lot of that Comic-Con news. But first up, this came from a little earlier in the week. Report: Marvel finally realized why its TV shows aren't working. Report: because they're terrible. But I bet this goes into a little bit more depth. So, Todd, why don't you break it down for us?
Thanks for that unbiased opinion. No, So Kevin Feige apparently saw several episodes of the new Daredevil show, which was approved for, or I guess greenlit for 2 seasons, and they were going to be like really long seasons too, like 18 episodes each season, which is totally weird.
Yeah, that's right. It's it's breaking the model. Yeah.
Yeah, and he said it apparently just didn't work. And Kevin Feige has primarily been involved in the movies, and then they have brought out TV. And the only thing they had really in a regular TV series that was MCU tied was Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. What Marvel has done differently with the Disney Plus shows is they have not basically modeled what other TV shows do, which is a showrunner who makes a Bible, who then creates basically all the synopsis of all the characters and where they're going, and then brings writers in to flesh that out. Essentially, they've taken the approach of make it more movie-like, where it's one long thing, and then we'll fix it in post anything that doesn't work. Apparently Secret Invasion was a huge disaster in that area because there was strife on set. They apparently went one direction. It wasn't working. Had to scrap everything, start over again. COVID didn't help. And it was almost like a $250 million TV series. And it didn't look worth $250 million and didn't perform worth $250 million for Disney Plus. So because of that, Kevin Feige said he's basically scrapping it and they're rebooting the series. They fired 2 writers already, and they're going to come back with basically a showrunner and go forward.
Wow. I have to jump in here just back on Secret Invasion. I do love this line. The show, which was deeply boring and fairly uninspired, aside from occasional standout performances from Bendo Mendo, Sam Jackson, and Olivia Colman. Deeply boring. I don't want that written on my tombstone. Oh, Charles Carden. Deeply boring.
That's on your DVD cover right there. Deeply boring, said the Winona Press. Yes.
My God.
It's interesting because they they say TV is a writer-driven medium, and that's absolutely true.
Right.
Marvel is a medium, and I love this quote. Another insider stated, "Marvel is a Marvel-driven medium," which makes no sense at all.
There you go. That'll fix it up real good. That'll fix
Yeah.
your little red wagon.
Simply throwing money at a production is no guarantee it'll be any
Here,
good
money,
at all.
money.
Yeah, and then when people were hearing about the Daredevil show going back to scratch, Vincent D'Onofrio even kind of like addressed, and he said, any show that's worth doing right is worth doing the right way.
Twice.
So he was at least,
Yeah.
and he's like, I'll probably get paid more because I got to get brought back. So
Wow.
good for him.
You know what? He's an optimist. I'm impressed.
Yeah, but a lot of people are going back. They say, why don't they just make season 4 of the Netflix series? And I'm like, well, do you think bringing back a show that's been gone for 6 years, that was probably a more niche show because it was more R-rated,
Right.
coming back 6 to 8 years later is going to bring in a lot of eyes? No one wants to come in season 4 of something.
Well, I mean, the other 3 seasons are there, but that doesn't mean people are going to go watch them because, again, it's no jumping on point to say, and we're continuing the 6-year-old series because, you're like, oh, good, come join our show with homework. But of course, all Marvel is homework, isn't it?
Well, and it ended on a dour note with Defenders, didn't deliver. You got you didn't get more seasons of Luke Cage. So I would say overall, and it never felt truly linked to the MCU anyways, because they largely played in their own space, and we've already been reintroduced to Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin as a more powered character, a little different. We got reintroduced to Daredevil as more of a lighter character with different abilities. Right. So I think they've already set what they want the tone for future Daredevil series to be, and I think that's probably why this wasn't working. So I guess we'll see where this goes, but I think this is kind of the thought process is it's not working. People are kind of okay with missing Marvel things now, and no one is raving that people should be watching things. I think the last thing people said people should watch was Werewolf at Night.
Game of Thrones.
Werewolf
that was Marvel. Yeah,
Marvel relation, Charlie.
Yeah, okay. I was just thinking of just pluck something out of thin air.
That was the last Marvel thing that I think people were like,
there was a big buzz. Yeah. The beauty of the actor strike is that everybody's getting a break from everything, no matter what.
Exactly. Exactly. They've got time to figure things out.
It's something. But anyway.
Yeah, I mean, Chris, is any of this surprising? Are you keeping up with all the Marvel stuff?
I mean, I'll see the articles here and there. I did hear about the Daredevil thing. I'm glad that they're taking a little bit of a step back and being like, look, these shows were not working and we need to reevaluate. And I get that they want to maybe have some sort of creative freedom here and there, but if they want this kind of shared universe and stuff like that, they got to really map things out, almost like a Game of Thrones ish in a way, like where these storylines all kind of go to, right? Like I got to bring it back over there, Charlie, because
back around.
Yeah, and they really, I don't know. I feel like they really need like a Hickman or someone like just to kind of help them, like guide them, like kind of like how Filoni does it with Star Wars, right? Like he's there to be the fixer. To be the fixer, and they need like that. They need that one person to be the fixer for Marvel here,
right?
And fill in that gap and stuff like that.
A fixer up front, not in post, as we've learned.
Exactly.
Fix it in pre. Why don't they just fix it before it's broke?
Exactly.
We've solved it. Quick question though. Right. Kevin Feige's been doing this now since 2008 was Iron Man. Do you think he ever thought he'd still be doing this? Like 15 years later, I'm guessing he never did until he's like, I only made it through like year 8. After that, everything was kind of like,
I mean, it's running itself.
My spaghetti is not sticking to the wall anymore.
No.
Yeah. They needed Inhumans and Eternals to kind of fix their little red wagon as it goes. Holy shit.
Yeah. So we'll see how this goes. There's not much. We know that there's going to be less Marvel coming out. The one thing I'm probably most excited about is X-Men 97, which I think we're supposed to get that soon. So beyond that, the rest of the stuff is like, it'll be okay.
Yeah. It's okay. It'll be okay. All right. Well, moving right along here. You stole this one from me because I shared this yesterday. But I didn't see the Transformers movie, but I did see the stinger at the end with actors. What is that actor's name? His last name is Kelly. Michael Kelly was a government dude talking to whoever one of the characters was, and blah blah blah. We might need you for the future. Here's a business card and it says GI Joe on the back, and I'm like, wee. Well, I'm a huge GI Joe guy, obviously. And so now you have, and Todd, this was actually a follow-up to GI Joe casting. So quick, and again, these are ridiculous because it's just some screen rant dude, and none of these will ever see.
It's
the light
like
of
it's
day.
Charlie. It's like we're going back to Wizards comics or Wizards magazine. We said, who would be a good, like, who would be in these movies? And I loved the last one that I shared was like, who would be a good in Alpha Flight? And they had like Sasquatch. It would be the Wampa from Star Wars. I'm like, what?
That guy's plus. First of all, you'll never be able to afford him. So let me knock through this pretty quick here. And first of all, Chris, you're any affinity with GI Joe on your side?
I mean, I've watched the show. I won't say I'm like a fan, like super fan or anything like that, but I appreciate what it was, but I did watch that most recent Transformers, and I was surprised at how they tied it in with the whole GI Joe stuff. So I was like, oh wow, that's kind of
yeah,
cool.
they're doing that with the comics now over at Skybound Image. It's the Energon universe.
I'll be talking about that in the Geeky.
Oh,
nice.
Good. Did you read the Void Rivals? That was the kickoff to it. I had a comic guy tell me about it.
Spoilers. I'm caught up, and I've read Transformers #1.
Oh my goodness. Okay, well let me blast through this real quick. And again, these characters may not mean much to anybody else. Australian actor Guy Pearce as Major Blood, who is also Australian. I like this, and I like this next one because we just wrapped up watching both It films. Bill Skarsgård is Zartan, the shapeshifter. He's Pennywise adjacent. I like this. Wally Goggs as Dr. Mindbender, who was a crazy dude who wore like Zardaz's outfit and had a purple cape and a monocle.
Shave his head, give him a monocle and a bad mustache.
Oh, and now they're getting into some ridiculous shit. Yeah. David Tennant is Destro. I mean, you don't get to see that pretty face if he's wearing that, but he would have the.
I can wear a mask. I can play a droid.
He's great, though. I guess, yeah.
I like a paycheck.
You think so? Amelia Clarke is the Baroness. I love Amelia Clarke. She doesn't really jump out Baroness.
Just no CGI around her, please. No CGI around her.
Yeah, don't CGI up her body. But yeah, the Baroness, I don't know. I don't know this actor. Yeah, Yang Jae-soon is Storm Shadow. Okay. And then Oscar Isaac is Cobra Commander. How awesome would that be?
Last time he played a character that was, remember when he played Apocalypse?
Yeah, that's the thing. That's why
you want him playing a good, over the top villain. It did not work the last time he tried.
Who
would be a good over the top? Like, I could see maybe Joaquin Phoenix, like if he really wanted to go crazy, kind of thing. Jared Leto, I guess, if you really want to get like the.
I think you get the Dean from Community to play Cobra Commander.
let me also. I followed a link here, super quick, to their top GI Joe picks. Alan Richardson, so Jack Reacher himself says Duke, who is the top shirt. Snake Eyes Ninja 100%. Joe Taslim, and again, Snake Eyes, the character was not Asian, but whatever. I guess they thought they made it work. Karen Gillan is Scarlet. Oh my, I could see that working. Okay. Got an actor named Trevatane Rhodes as Stalker, who is a African American gentleman. Sophia Boutella as Lady J. Pedro
you gotta have Terry Crews as Roadblock. Terry Crews as Roadblock is a no-brainer.
Oh, no doubt about it.
Bad
Kurt
Cajun
Russell
accent.
is Joe Colton, who is the original G.I. Joe. Yeah, you bet. No, you're thinking of Gung Ho. Gung Ho was Cajun. Yeah, Roadblock was from Mississippi. And he spoke in rhymes in the cartoon. But yeah, Kurt Russell is Joe Colton, the original dude. He was also
he had a weird accent.
Here.
I thought he was Cajun for some reason. Yeah.
He was like, ain't no crime to do some time, blah, 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 blah.
Charlie,
But
don't
anyway,
do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Was Scatman Crothers somebody too? No, he was just jazz on.
No, that was it was jazz. But anyway, yes, I would love to. I will. I'll put my heart on the line again in 5 years, whatever it is. That's something GI Joe related comes out. But hopes are super low.
There's no Wayans brothers have been involved in this, so it might have a chance to succeed.
That's a shame.
Don't do it. Don't do it. All right,
So
New York Comic Con. Yeah, no, go ahead, please.
Chris, did you have a question?
Oh, no, I just had.
Please.
Does he play the character that? Oh my god, I forgot the actor's name at this point. Does he actually play a GI Joe in his character actually a GI Joe character from the Transformers?
From the Transformers. Was he just
what
an
was it?
agent?
What was the
guy who introduced in the Stinger?
Michael Kelly.
Stinger.
Do you remember? Do you remember the character's name?
Don't.
I could tell you. Throw the character's name at me. I could tell you if it's.
It was CoverGirl. Oh no, just kidding.
Yeah, it looked just like him. CoverGirl, a brunette model from Chicago. So yes, absolutely. No, David Kelly. I mean, it could have been agent some such. Are you looking it up or are you?
I'm looking it up. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm ready.
Post-credit scenes. The name of the character. Do they give it?
Agent
Come on. Agent Burke.
I don't think there's a Burke in GI Joe parlance, but I could be wrong. At me on Twitter at the C3 if you know it, or X if you prefer. But anyway, all right. So moving right along, Todd, gonna pinball this back to you because you put together this ultimate package of New York Comic Con actual comic news. Which that's basically all. That was the leg they had to stand on with no actors.
Well, the first one is going to be Invincible Season 2. The animated series launched a trailer. Which is a comic book property. It's Amazon Prime, the first season. Yep. Charlie, did you ever watch the first season?
I watched, and we talked. I did because we talked about. We had my high school friend Alex on, and we talked about the show. So I did watch it, but being so deep into watching Gen V right now and the gross out of this I just kind of don't need another gross out. I'm kind of good. And I remember that Invincible was kind of great. And even this trailer was very bloody. And I'm just like, you know what? I think I need a break.
Okay. Chris, did you watch Invincible Season 1?
I did. I enjoyed it. I think I spaced myself enough between The Boys and Invincible that I had time to cleanse my palate, so to speak, between the two. So.
Okay, well, very good. So we, the end of season 1, we got a big reveal, basically father versus son, and this is continuing it. And the team was left in a horrible place. I mean, really ripped up. I mean, who's going to survive? And the great thing about the comic is, and I've read, I think the first and second omnibuses. It's a great read. It's very quick. The character is very much like Superman and Spider-Man combined. If your dad was also a bad Superman,
very bad Superman, way to put it. With a big mustache.
Yeah, it's really.
And he was Grosse Pointe native. What's that dude's name?
J.K. Simmons.
J.K. Simmons. Yes, from my hometown. Yeah.
Yep, and he's great. And his character trailer for Mortal Kombat 1 was revealed as well. He's a character in Mortal Kombat now too, which is so great. They show us, and he's perfect for it because the kills are over the top. It's crazy.
Is J.K. doing the voice too?
He is.
I get 2 paychecks this way.
Yeah, JK. Homelander's also in Mortal Kombat too. It's great. So you got Homelander and Omni-Man. They're fantastic. So we have not seen Homelander stuff yet too, which is great. So so this is coming out in so season 2 is coming out in November, and I cannot wait. I really enjoyed the show. It's great. It's very respective of the comics, but it does things a little bit differently at times, which I like. And Kirkman's great. He knows how to do a show. He did The Walking Dead great, and Invincible is his property as well. So we'll see how this goes. But I'm super excited.
Are they doing a weekly release, or are they going to drop the whole thing?
Good question, because Amazon's been so funky. Sometimes they'll drop 3 and then do a weekly episode.
They did that with 1 or 2 Amazon shows. It'll be like we released 3 and then we released 1 and then we released 2 and then blah, 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 back again. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Buckle
yeah.
up.
So it's the first half. It's actually going to be cut in half. So the first half will be in 2023. The second half will be in 2024.
They're,
So
they're,
you
they're
know
stretching
we've
it
seen
out
that
for
before.
content. That's what they got to do.
Why
Dang it.
not?
Yeah.
So then we did get some comic book news for Marvel. That's the next 3 stories. I trimmed these down a little bit because I realized a couple were kind of more in the weeds that people may not care about.
Yeah,
but these are
true.
kind of fun. So these are all kind of one-off events that you don't have to follow the books to stay
That
up
helps.
with. The first
Yeah.
one is called the first one's called Marvel Blood Hunt, which is all about basically Marvel heroes versus vampires.
Oh, I was to say I thought it was Marvel. Couldn't quite tell if it was like Marvel Zombies making a comeback, but you know, tomato. That's cool. I like that. So this is not kind of a what if kind of deal. This is
No,
just,
it's
hey,
gonna
vampires.
be similar to what they've done with Marvel's the Marvel's Dead line as well. So we're getting Jed McKay is going to be writing this, and Pepe Larraz and Marte Gracia are going to be writing this, and it's going to be including it's essentially going to be a basically single episodes or issues within an event, but you can also read the one-offs if you want to. But I
But of
always recommend you
course.
don't, unless
please
it's
don't.
part of a regular title.
Yeah.
But then basically it's going to be including the Avengers, Moon Knight's Midnight Mission, which sounds like it's the new Midnight Suns.
Yeah.
Characters Doctor Strange, Miles Morales, and Blade. This is going to be happening in spring 2024.
Spring when the vampires are in bloom.
Exactly. DC already did a DC versus vampire event. So I like it when everybody
Right.
just plays around with these characters. So that's the first one. That's going to be kind of a standalone event. You don't really need to get up to speed with that. And then we've got a throwback. The Ultimate Universe is coming back, which could be good or bad. Because that ended, because the Ultimate Universe ended, and the
With
only hangover
the Secret
was
Wars, yeah.
Miles Morales coming into the 616.
Right.
That was the only thing we got changed. Everything else was left in the past. And this is coming. Jonathan Hickman's behind this. He was also involved with the end of the Ultimate Universe.
Yeah, it was the
too.
Secret Wars back in 2015.
Wow.
Because all the worlds got all smushy-defied and all that different stuff. Yeah.
Yep. So we're getting a one-shot called Ultimate Universe #1, which is basically just going to get you up to speed. Okay, there, and out of that will become basically a couple standalone Ultimate books. We're getting Marco Cicchetto's Ultimate Spider-Man, Brian Hill and Stefano Caselli's Ultimate Black Panther, and Peach Momoko's Ultimate X-Men. I love her art. She typically only does covers, but she's a really cool anime-esque artist, and she does really beautiful stuff. So we're getting these new titles, and ultimately, sorry, I need to say that. We'll see what this means for the overall Marvel universe. Obviously, the multiverse is a thing, and what it means. But one of the things they've shown is basically Doctor Doom, Thor, Iron Man. It looks like
very jazzed up
Lady Sif and
Lady Sif
America are on the cover. So
I will note that back in these books came out in 2002. Really, Ultimate Spider-Man was, I think, in the year 2000. And it's interesting to me the influence of the MCU in the fact that there's an Ultimate Black Panther character. I don't even know during the Ultimate run if Black Panther was a factor at all, because he was extremely niche back in the day, but became such a global sensation in 2016 and 2018. Obviously, in 2018 with his own film, $1 billion film, that it kind of warrants his approval. So it's interesting to see the multimedia aspect of it kind of coming fully around. So like I've said in the past, I'm a big fan of limited series because that's as much bandwidth as I have to give something is very limited. So yes, please don't give me a title that I will fall in love with that'll get canceled.
The one shot comes out in November, so this is coming very soon. And I always recommend people subscribe to Marvel Unlimited.
Yep.
If you want to absorb everything, but also if you want the physical issues, go to your comic book shop. But it's the best way to save some money and enjoy some good stories. I really enjoyed the Ultimates. I loved Ultimate Spider-Man. Didn't care for the Fantastic Four or X-Men lines. But other than that, I don't know, Chris.
The leather, not a huge fan of the leather.
Yeah.
It was a weird one. Although we did get the Dead series. Those characters came out of the
Oh,
Fantastic Four actually introduced them.
the Marvel Zombies. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they introduced those that concept as well. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's coming out soon, and we'll see where that goes and if it's successful or not.
I
And then
just hope.
oh,
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, I just hope that Rob Liefeld does one more cover.
So many pouches. Pouches.
oh my god, so many
Couches,
chests stuck out.
Yeah.
Yes, the rib
Yes.
cage that is bigger than it should be.
Someone with no actual spine. They're just
Yeah.
all but Captain Motorboat.
And a side note on that, he is like going out there really throwing shade and saying it's like he's the best Wolverine artist. Everybody's like, Rob, have you
Ooh.
seen your work? And they're showing him all these other characters. I just love it.
It sounds like it's a rap battle, or like Donald Trump.
right.
excuse me for saying so.
Except
Somebody just making
no one
outlandish
thinks
claims.
that he's worth the effort. I mean, it's really bad. Yeah.
Oh my
But the last one I think is a cool concept. So we've gotten like a really good Marvel line of like the beginning of the Marvel universe with Marvels.
Right. Yeah.
We got DC with Kingdom Come. Marvel
Yeah.
has never had really their Kingdom Come. And
Not
this is what
you wouldn't compare that to Earth X. I guess I never read that one.
that just was not very successful. It was so
Okay.
Alex Ross, I think, is like I said, he's a great like painter and things like that. Not a great creative
Yeah.
He's the guy that comes up with all that.
You've hated all of his outfits, like Bucky Cap. I know you weren't a fan of that outfit.
But this is kind of cool. It's Avengers Twilight. It's basically taking place in the future, and essentially there's a Steve Rogers, but Captain America is no more. Essentially there's a world that's kind of a lie to everyone and trapping them in, and basically Steve Rogers has to see if he can reform an Avengers in the future. This looks kind of cool. I like it. I saw the trailer for it. Like in all these stories, Marvel puts up like these little comic book trailers, which I like. Uses the art, has some voice, some like cinematic music, and it's really fun to kind of relay in like a minute long what is the series trying to convey. So I really like that. This could be very fun, and this is coming out in January 2024. It's a 6-part series, so easily consumable for everyone out there.
You know, Todd, we should, in order to drive the point home and make sure we actually read this, we should pick one of these 4 and actually make it a spinner rack. I'd be down with that. Pick your favorite, or better still, put it out there as a vote to the fine folks who are subscribed to our Patreon on our Discord. Look at that great idea.
We can absolutely do that. Oh, we just have to wait until it's free on Marvel Unlimited.
Well, okay.
Months later.
So a year from now,
Exactly.
we will put it out there. So we're going to tuck it in the back. But yeah, we'd love to do that because it'd give me an excuse to read some of this newer stuff. I'm down with that.
Exactly. And then lastly, DC is also bringing back something that I don't know why it went away. Maybe it was just like became too
most things tend to go away when nobody's reading them. So
true. Yeah. Becomes a little too much commonplace, doesn't feel special anymore. And that's
exactly.
DC Elseworlds. I think these are great snapshots that DC has always done really well to basically take a classic character and reposition them in a different world. It's kind of like Marvel's What If, but it's not just one decision. It's basically
it's basically a sticky situation, as Cartman might say. Oh, this is a sticky situation.
Exactly. It's like Gotham by Gaslight. It's Superman Red Sun.
Gotham by Gaslighting. Todd, that was a real comic. That was real.
You're telling me it's not real? Oh crap! I've been gaslighted
by
Batman or by Gotham. I don't know who did it, but they're bringing it back in an imprint, and these are the titles. It's going to be Gotham by Gaslight: The Kryptonian Age. So that's a sequel to a previous Gotham Elseworlds title, which was Batman was basically trying to hunt down Jack the Ripper. Which is a book I own, but I've never read it.
I also own it, and Todd, I own it, and I haven't read it either. I think we just found a spinner rack.
There you go.
Sounds perfect. Then Batman the Barbarian, which is kind of like putting Batman in a Conan the Barbarian realm, which could be, and this is by the Human Target writer, Charlie, which we really enjoyed, which is really interesting.
That was great. Lothar of the Hill people. I love it.
And we have the Dark Knights of Steel Allwinter, which the Dark Knights of Steel was a previous series. It was kind of a separate series in the Batman universe, but now they're doing with this is kind of cool. It's Deathstroke is the main character of this.
Ooh, nice. Nice,
Great.
man.
Uh,
Dig in. All
the
right.
one that has me most excited is Green Lantern Dark. It's very cool. This
Ooh.
is an original creation. It takes place in an alternate universe where evil has ravaged a sunless Earth. A new Green Lantern has emerged as the only remaining hero, but she goes missing just as humanity needs her most. That looks pretty cool. And then let's see, we got a couple more. Batman Nightfire, which Batman and Catwoman artist Clay Mann returns to the franchise for a story set in a world where Batman harbors a secret so important they would rather allow Gotham to burn down than let the truth be known. Apparently, it deals with Batman traveling to the past to rewrite his present. Is this where they find out, like, he has an underwear fetish or something?
Maybe is
Out
that
on
why he's,
TikTok?
is that why he's wearing that outfit?
Yeah.
Man.
And then lastly, like I talked about, there was a DC versus Vampires series, and this is DC versus Vampires World War V. And it's a sequel to that series. Looks pretty cool.
To World War W. Werewolves into vampires.
There you go.
Man, good stuff. And tune into, or maybe you already have, into Code 47 this week. There was a Star Trek Universe panel at New York Comic Con as well, which talked about some Trek-related happenings for 2024, including the return of Star Trek Prodigy on Netflix, which would be very exciting. So, well, all right. Well, with that, that is the end of the news. Todd, time to get out that Fuber app, that feeble Uber app. Got to get down to Scugtown, Nastyville. The Geek Easy awaits, skeezy drinks, and good yucks, talking about stuff we enjoy. So let's go.
Talk nerdy to me. Talk nerdy to me.
We're sitting in the Geek Easy. Cover bands playing, drinks are poured, and we are getting our nerd on. So, Chris, you got a cool list here, man. And I know Charlie will be very excited about one of these things. So,
I
why don't you start us off on some of the things we're not so aware of?
Yeah, I mean, I finally got my own library card, and
Nice.
support your local library.
Yeah, support local, please.
And there was a book that they were promoting for Spooky October and all that stuff. So it was a book called Hide, and the whole premise is it's like kind of like like not a game show, but like a contest where literally there's a bunch of people that are thrown into this like old abandoned amusement park, and the premise is they have to survive there for 7 days. And you're kind of like walking through each of these characters as they are trying to get through the entire thing. And I don't know, it's supposed to be like a scary book. I haven't read a book that's really scared me, so I'm like, let me give this a shot and let's see how this is. So I'm like 60 or so pages into the book, so it's but so far it's been pretty good.
Nice.
And,
all right, library.
And I finished up Castlevania Nocturne just recently.
Is that a sequel to the regular Castlevania series?
It is yes and no. It's supposed to be like 100 or 200 years forward in the whole series. So gives you enough time to for the Trevor and Sypha whole like storyline going away. But it's pretty good. It was pretty good. I still think the original Castlevania series was like still like quite good. In fact, like probably one of the better adaptations in terms of video game series. And but yeah, like I think it's still a good watch. Like 8 episodes, pretty quick. I'm excited to see where they take season 2. Because it looks like it'd be.
Oh, it's getting a second season. Okay, because I'm like done with season 1 of Castlevania. I'm really excited to see where it goes.
Yes,
next.
Season 2 is really good.
Okay,
and I mean, like the rest of the show is just it's so weird, but it's like, that series is really well done.
I want to quiz Charlie. So, Charlie, did you know Dracula has a son named Alucard?
He doesn't have a son named Castlevania? No. I thought that's what the show was about.
What, you know what the fun part is? Guess what Alucard spells backwards?
Picard?
Dracula.
Dracula.
Oh, what? Are you kidding me?
No! Is that the greatest thing ever? I'm naming my child my name backwards. Dot. My son is Dot.
My name backwards is Ilrach. So that's what I should have gone with.
Srk? Swerk?
Yeah, basically. Yeah. I should have done that.
Cyric? Yeah.
And finally, I will say I've been slowly watching Strange New Worlds. I've been enjoying it. Still on season 1, but it's been a good time. I
It
appreciate
only
it.
gets better. It only gets better.
It only gets that show is is being written again, but obviously with no production date. They'd be in season 2 ends on a cliffhanger. Sorry, not a big surprise.
Season 2, that cliffhanger kicks ass. Oh
Yeah,
my God.
that was
so good.
That was pretty good. Yeah, great show. There's a lot of fun in season 2. Lighthearted fun. There's
Do you like musicals, Chris?
There's a musical episode that Todd and
I'm good with it. Yeah.
Todd and I are 50-50 on. We're 50-50. We agreed, but we agreed that we only like half of it because we like the premise, but the songs and they were written by what's her ass, Kay Hanley from Letters to Cleo. So you would have thought that they would have been fantastic, but I did not care for the song. Much of
it's
the
like the rock opera we never wanted.
Yeah, exactly.
Here's Tommy. Here's the other one.
It really was. But yeah, that musical featured the musical stylings of Celia Rose Gooding, who's Uhura, and she's absolutely fantastic. So yeah,
Quick,
you will
Charlie,
enjoy
name
it.
me a Letters to Cleo song.
Here and now, that song is on one of my rotations right now and then they also covered from 10 Things I Hate About You. I Want You to Want Me. They're playing it on the roof of the school at the end of the movie as the helicopter's flying around. So there you go. And favorite of Adam Scott's character in Parks and Rec. That's all I know.
I'm sure Chris was like, they're my favorite band. Don't besmirch them.
Oh my! Stop with the besmirching. Oh.
Yeah, so we've all watched Loki up to where Chris, you're all caught up?
I am all caught up, yeah.
Nice. Okay, so what do we think of the series so far? There's only 6 episodes. Do you feel like Marvel is struggling to have any sense of urgency in their storytelling, or do you feel like we'll get to the end and we'll solve it then? Because right now I feel like, from my own perspective, we've figured out I think they've hit on some cool parts, but once again, I feel like I don't know what the end game is in this. I don't know where we're going.
I'm very worried about relevancy here because again, everything is so sandwiched that you're like, oh, he who remains is Kang, but we've seen Kang in Ant-Man and that movie was terrible. And Jonathan Majors, are they going to keep him because of all of this and that? So it just feels, when I say relevance, I mean really even relevance to itself, because where does this story fit in? That was my biggest misgiving about Ant-Man Quantumania, and we talked about this when we reviewed them. It was Todd, myself, and my partner Jen Watson, who's with us over on Code 47. Is that it was like, okay, well, it was a total tonal shift, and this. I'm sorry, we got to introduce Kang, so you got him, man, go for it. But that had a teaser or a stinger in that film that was a clip from this show, I'm assuming. But yeah, what are they going to do? So yeah, we're now, episode 3 will drop Thursday after the Tuesday when you're probably listening to this, which means they'll be halfway through. And yeah, I also don't really know where we're going. You know what I mean? I loved season 1, but as Todd mentioned, that was 2 years ago. So I really struggle to remember much of anything. Love the Sylvie character. I think she's one of the better parts of this deal myself. But I really struggle to kind of figure out how it really ties back.
I mean, Chris, do you think I've heard rumblings that the TVA out of this is going to be obviously restructured because we had in this episode, we had kind of like a rebellion within the TVA. They did some pruning of certain things, but that's not been constrained. But we're hearing now the newly more nicer TVA is going to be more focused on trying to maintain the timelines rather than destroy them. And that may lead us to, that's how we get all of these different eras of Marvel, like Deadpool and the Fox shows, and maybe David Hasselhoff as
Nick Fury,
as Nick Fury and Gen X. Matt Frewer comes back, and all these guys, and they come in. That's how they're brought together by the TVA to basically take on Kang. And if that's the thought process that comes out of this, then we kind of feel like, okay, finally we are getting a roadmap to bring us all together. But at this point, the Marvel's been trying to throw out so many things to bring together. It's been hard. So, Chris, do you feel like you're getting satisfied with what they're showing, or do you? How do you feel?
Well, I mean, I think the thing that gets me a little worried is just that they I apologize if I'm saying his name wrong, but Ki Hui Kwan.
Yeah, I always get it wrong too, but you nailed it.
Obi, like the whole idea of the Ouroboros is it's a circle, right? This is just going to happen again, kind of thing.
Like Battlestar Galactica, it is happening
right?
again.
Like in that sense, like okay, so all the stuff that we're seeing is just like does it actually matter in the whole like the whole thing? Is Kang going to win? Is Kang, like He Who Remains or whoever, is he going to win at the end of the season? You know, like that's the stuff that I'm trying to wrap my head around. Is like is there any point in seeing this? Because it's like, all right, well, we know he's going to win because obviously Secret Wars and stuff like that has already been announced.
Right.
They announced a movie with his name in it.
Yeah.
The Kang
Sorry,
Exactly.
we gotta walk it back. Yeah, well, it's easy with a multiversal character to be like, and now he actually looks like this guy. So yeah, get out of jail free card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but I mean, to your point about this potential idea of like bringing all these other Marvel universes in, I mean, in a way, it like kind of going back to our previous episode about the Flash, like they had enough time to maybe do this as opposed to kind of jamming it all into one movie. So,
yeah. Or alternately, let's jam it all into one movie. Let's see how that works out.
I mean,
Spoiler alert! Meow meow did not work out.
Yeah, and if they're all the movies they've announced, I mean, are they still going to happen? Are they going to move things around?
Right. I mean, moving stuff around is, I mean, it's a foregone conclusion. They can't make things right now, so they're kind of stuck. So
yeah. We'll see how this goes. But I mean, I really enjoyed. They went to the 70s and they introduced the one character, the Zaniac thing, which I was looking at. The Zaniac is actually a real like creature thing in the Marvel universe, where they basically are a weird group of aliens who come and try to eat women, which is just a very weird concept. But yeah, I like that. And I like the McDonald's throwback. But other than
that was fun. And that was great. It was absolutely great. And I guess we were talking about McDonald's in the pre-roll, and we don't need to give them any more credence. We're of a divided line about McDonald's. Chris and I are on the no McDonald's side. Todd
I don't know about that.
Chris,
I didn't think Chris really made his.
Todd was like,
known.
"Why isn't anybody getting me my trick or treat basket?
I want my boo buckets, damn it!
My gosh!
Oh
well, I guess. So anyway,
Chris has children. I'm sure they've been to McDonald's before.
Oh my god, yes.
There you go. Well, we'll see how that goes. We've got 4 more episodes, and that will take us into the Marvels that is next. So myself, Charlie, just really recap. I did watch Totally Killer.
Oh, it was delightful.
It was a fun movie.
I enjoyed it. Yeah.
I was at the very end. I'm like, how are they going to explain this away? You're right. They explained it away.
I know it was great, right?
The age thing. I'm like, okay, they got it. It was fun. I recommend it to Chris if you like a goofy horror film. Check out Totally Killer on
Hulu
Prime.
Amazon Prime, sorry.
And it's very fun. It's a very fun time travel horror film. But the thing I really wanted to talk about was the fact that I talked about Void Rivals quite a while ago.
I snagged the first issue because I was in a comic shop in the State of Comics in Plymouth, Michigan, which is a great shop. And the owner was chewing my ear off about this, like trying to obviously sell me a copy. I did go to Amazon. I bought a copy for $1.80 digitally. And so it's sitting there in my queue for me to not read until we're not in between doing something else. But I'd like to check it out. But yeah, that's the kickoff to the Energon universe.
It is. And 4 issues have been out. The 5th issue comes out. I'm reading those. And it's really cool that Robert Kirkman decided, like, I'm going to reintroduce a new era of Transformers into a book that essentially doesn't focus on them, but it's layering in bits and pieces of the Transformers throughout every issue, which is very fun. And this whole thing is called the Void Rivals, which is essentially about 2 warring people that are part within the void. So 2 people are void rivals, 2 class of people. They've never revealed themselves. They don't know what they look like. They wear like these, they almost look like robots, and they've never revealed themselves.
In disguise?
but the two characters that get crash landed on this planet, they reveal themselves, and they're just like humanoid characters, and they're just different colored faces with gems, and that's all that separates them. But the people don't know this. So
black on one side, white on the other side, like the old Star Trek episode.
But yeah, the first issue reveals that Jetfire is around.
Nice.
And he shows up and then he leaves. So the next couple issues
jets out of there.
Also does little Easter eggs with the Transformers, which is very, very fun.
No G.I. Joe's Easter egg?
Not yet. So I've read through 4. 5 is coming out next week. I'll get that. I've been doing the thing where I get the Amazon Prime delivery discount for digital, and I've been using that for comics. So basically, if you choose to get a delayed delivery, you can get like $1.50 for digital purchases of movies, music, or comics.
Oh,
and
so
I've
like
been using it for the comics.
Like the bonus. Okay, yeah, I've had subscriptions in the past, like for the Star Treks that I mentioned, which I kind of gave up on for the time being, where you save your 10% through Comixology. But yeah. No, I
get the 10% plus I also get the digital discount or whatever the credits. So I've been using for that. So
digital's a racket, man. They're saving that money. They should pass along that savings. Yeah,
exactly. So I've been reading that. So that's very fun. And then at the end of issue 4, it then says, "Oh, here's a preview for Transformers #1," and that got me into reading Transformers #1, which this feels truly like a reboot. We're first reintroduced the Transformers like the original animated series, where the Ark has crashed and Spike and his dad are around, and they discovered the Transformers. I don't want to say more than that. It's there. But their preview in the back of the comic shows where they're at. So what I like about this, it feels the art's strong, the writing is very strong, and I like that we don't know where we're going, but it also adds in it adds in an element of kind of what you always worried about, Charlie. What if the Transformers picked up a person and they decided to see how squishy they were?
Yeah, I think you had mentioned something about that. So, boy, that's rough.
Yeah. So it's pretty rough, but I like it. It's a lot of fun, and I like to see where they're going. And now, to your point, you've already shared kind of like, hey, they're introducing G.I. Joe in a new part of this new universe,
right? Yeah, and that's
Duke #1 and a Cobra Commander #1.
And Larry Hama's kicking off, and I don't know, maybe it's not all tied together, but
I don't think it's tied together. I think one is a legacy, and I think the Duke comic and the Cobra Commander comic are kind of tied into this. And I liked what they were doing in those previews quite a bit.
Yeah. So next month, and I'll be trust me, we'll be talking all about it. G.I. Joe has their own legacy numbering because the Marvel comic ended with 155. IDW snatched it in the mid 2000s and picked it up with 155.5, and then they continued to issue 300. And so I've read everything up to 155. So I am now 50% behind. So I have to get caught up someday. I'm planning on it. But then 301 will be Larry Hama written legacy title. But then Duke and Cobra Commander sounds like they'll be tied in. So Todd, this seems like something we're really gonna have to really cover, follow and cover together. Could become its own.
Collaborate on it one way or the other. If you, Charlie, I will tell you there will be ways that you can access the Transformers stuff and vice versa, I assume.
Very good. Good deal. All right. Well, let me take it home with this, and I'll make it really quick. We old folks loved sitcoms in the 90s. And even going back to the 1980s, we loved sitcoms like Cheers. And Cheers beget little gentleman known as Frasier Crane, who spun off when that show ended. Cheers ran between 1982 and 1993. Frasier spun off from Boston to Seattle and ran for 11 seasons. And I actually, to preface this, we watched the 2-part finale of Frasier just to kind of figure out where he landed. And at the end of Frasier Volume 1, Frasier moves to Chicago to be with his lady love, portrayed by Laura Linney. I had no idea. So he was in Chicago, but that is now almost 20 years gone by. Now back for basically we'll call it a 10-issue limited series. My dear friends at Viacom, Paramount Plus, and I'm not saying that just because they give me great Star Trek screeners, have given us a new Frasier TV show. Set in current times, Frasier returns to Boston where his adult son lives. and he's passing through on his way to overseas, but he wants to stop by and socialize with the son, but they're not close. But Martin Crane, his father, John Mahoney's character, John Mahoney, died in 2018, has passed away, and that's kind of the crux of that first episode. 2 episodes are out there right now. There's a lot of really great father-son stuff in that between Frasier and the son, and then talking about John Mahoney's character. That's kind of my Achilles heel in anything is father-son stuff. You know, all of us who are sons have had a challenge with their father from time to time. I have 2 adult sons, 2 very challenging relationships. So that stuff always kind of makes me well up a bit. So the first episode was very emotional in that regard. The second episode really slides into your more typical sitcom-y kind of stuff. Frasier has a rogues gallery of 2 academic partners. Frasier ends up staying. That's not surprising, because how else would he have a series?
Does he go on talk radio and become like the new Rush Limbaugh?
No, he takes a position at Harvard. With his 2 colleagues. So now he's teaching at Harvard and spending time with his son and other characters that I will not spoil. You know what? It's and I read some scathing headline. Oh, the show is pointless on Screen Rant. Oh, the show is pointless. Blah blah. You know what? Is there a sitcom that has a point? Give me a sitcom that was really pointed. Was MASH pointed? Maybe. Yeah. But here's the thing. For those of us who grew up in the era of the 80s and the 90s and enjoyed an 80s, 90s sitcom, this hits the nail on the head, and it's 10 episodes. So we're going to ostensibly have a little bite of it. We'll enjoy it and then move on from it. And like any streaming service, it probably won't be back for a second season. So
I'm excited for this, and
it's fun. It's fun.
If you want to watch a very fun Halloween episode, the FRASIER Halloween episode, I think they only did one, was hilarious.
I'll have to give that a Google. So, but you don't remember if it was early or late in the show?
It was probably mid, because it was all about Niles and Daphne, kind of that. Still, they didn't know if they liked each other, and there was.
It's earlier in the show.
It's very good, but I'm excited for this because I always thought FRASIER had. I liked it more than Cheers, and I thought the writing was always phenomenal.
He's a great character, where Cheers was, he was a great character who could kind of do more things, and Cheers was always in some ways a little more one note because characters were a little more lowbrow, which is, for her, that not 100% sure. I tried to kind of research it through, and I found a lot of clickbait articles as to why David Hyde Pierce is not a part, his brother, but his brother's adult son is a character. That's kind of interesting. So you have the cousins, you have the Frasier's son and Niles' son.
If this goes on, I've heard there will be other cameos from other.
Roz is confirmed.
Mad Dog back. Maybe shows up.
Yeah, Lilith apparently will be back because it's in Boston.
But they were hesitant to say if there will be any Cheers.
Alumni
showing. Yeah. I mean, Sam could show up.
I would think so.
Shelley Long, nobody's seen her in obviously decades, and obviously Rebecca has passed away.
Yeah, and I think John
Arla maybe.
Yeah,
but they didn't like each other, so that was kind of a weird one.
Yeah, but I mean, I wouldn't be. You know what?
Wasn't Robin a guy?
Wasn't he the guy who owned the restaurant? But it would be great, in the final episode, final scene, he blows into Cheers, and a bunch of the people are still there. Fingers crossed on that one. But anyway, airs weekly on Paramount Plus on Thursdays. Plug. SFU loves Paramount Plus.
Chris, did you hear Frasier and you're like, wow, these old guys like old stuff?
I like. Here's the thing. Like, I didn't really watch Cheers. But I did get into Frasier. I was like, oh, this show's actually pretty good. And, my wife is like, she's always been like, oh, I don't know, like this, like the humor was like always kind of over her head kind of thing. Yeah. And but this might be, I don't know, this might be a good opportunity for us to watch a show together and see if it's any good. So
I highly recommend it. Todd, report back next week once you watch the first episode. We'll talk about it again.
Too much stuff to watch. I have no time to watch anything. What else is coming out?
I had to cram in 3 shows this morning to record this afternoon, and I finished like 20 minutes before I was ready to get on with Peter. Just rewatching things, like it was Lower Decks. I just rewatching just to have seen a second time, and Battlestar Galactica. And I did this, so I just had to finish the last one. But I also had brunch with my kids, and it's been a Sunday.
Yeah, I had to hurry up and watch Gen V while the Vikings were finally finishing up their game, and I had that background, and I had Gen V on while I was watching some football at the same time, and I finally caught because I thought you were going to talk about it, so I'm like, I gotta catch up.
No. I thought, I thought for the sake of time, I'd trim.
Oh God! Quite honestly, that episode almost ended me because it was so gory.
It was.
I need to watch the show. I need to watch.
It's really good, Chris. But it is, if The Boys wears you out, this show feels like it's going harder to be. It's good and bad. It's like there's good characters on it, but man, it goes in some gross.
It's certainly just it's certainly not grabbing me. Though no pun intended.
Oh, I like it a lot.
Yeah. I would say the way that The Boys does. I definitely prefer The Boys to it. But
this is a little too gory for its own.
It is. It is.
I feel like
this
is like Eric Kripke Unleashed.
Yeah.
In terms of
someone has kind of let the dog up chain. But anyway, that wraps up our time in the Geek Easy. Time to get out that Air Qantas app, get us to the land down under. Hologram Tina and the Mutants await for us to revisit Shocktober. Let's go.
Welcome to another edition of Thunderdome.
Thank you, Tina. We're sitting in the Thunderdome where the mutants have been gathered for a topic. Thank you, Charlie. Let me try that one more time.
No. Keep it in. It's all live, baby. It's raw. It's like life.
We're live.
We're live with Tina in the Thunderdome. The mutants have been gathered for a topic or game to be entertained. This week it's Shocktober, week 3.
I'm the only one here who's not drinking. How come I'm more fun?
I know. We're talking about a movie called Werewolves Within. This came out in 2021. I think only on it was a very silent released movie.
I was super sure that it was new.
No. Well, it is new. But it didn't come out in theaters, I believe, and it was just out of COVID and things like that. I think it was a VOD only release, which was interesting. So I've been waiting for this one to come out on a service we could watch for free. So now it's out on Hulu. So Werewolves Within. Quite honestly, this is an interesting one because it's actually based on a video game property by Ubisoft. They have a VR game where basically it's a deduction game where you have to determine who the werewolf is. There's one night. There's a game card series or a tabletop game called series One Night Ultimate XXX. There's One Night Ultimate Werewolf, where it's a very fun game. I highly recommend everybody get it. But basically, it's a card game where you have to determine with a group of friends who the werewolf is, and you use a app. How you determine it, they basically guide you through the game. It's a very fun game. It costs like $20. You buy it, and it's a very fun game to do with folks at party settings. So, Ubisoft did a VR game where you wear a VR helmet, nobody can see each other, and it's the same thing. Basically, you have villagers, you have the
werewolf. Villagers eat
so
chickens to eat.
Exactly. So this is actually the second adaptation from a Ubisoft thing for this type of thing, because they also did Mythic Quest. So that's an Ubisoft thing as well, which makes no sense. And I love Mythic Quest. So, but this is all about, basically, this is a classic whodunit.
Yes.
I'll give you the plot. Reassigned to the isolated hamlet of Beaverfield, nice to a fault forest ranger Finn Wheeler, played by Sam Richardson, was just getting to meet the eccentric locals when the town was slammed by a blizzard. Turns out all private generators were sabotaged and that someone or something is brutally picking the residents off. Paranoia mounts, as does the body count in this semi-satirical shocker based on the VR game. I mean, your cast is kind of interesting because I only know of a couple people in this movie, which would be Sam Richardson, played by Finn Wheeler, which we already talked about, and then the girl from the ATT commercials. That's really all she's done.
That's my girlfriend right there. She's been in she had a bit part in an episode of Silicon Valley. Is the only thing I feel like I've ever seen her in. But I am.
You're right.
1000% in love with this woman. I've always thought she was fantastic.
Well, there you go. So you've seen her. She does AT&T commercials. That is her claim to fame, essentially at this point. So this movie, I don't have many details about who did it or how much it made, which I normally would go into, but that's fine. This is essentially a whodunit in a small little town. This is actually, I couldn't It's either in Vermont or New Hampshire because they showed a
Yeah.
map and it was in either of the
Yeah.
states. So it's
It
north.
was.
It's
It's like
northeast.
Springfield. Yeah, but it's because you got a lot of kind of hokum rednecks and stuff like that. Another one of the cast members is Michaela Watkins, who was on SNL for like a year.
Oh
And,
yeah.
yeah, and then
The weird
yeah,
lady made the crafts.
the guy who was
yeah.
Parker, the company man, he looked familiar. He had been in some stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So essentially this movie, like I said, it's a whodunit. It's people are gathered together and you've got people with various motives. You don't know who it is, and everything leads you to believe there is something supernatural afoot.
Supernatural.
Exactly. So with that, Charlie at this point we could walk kind of through kind of what happened in this movie, and obviously
Sure.
spoilers are afoot. A hand,
or
a head.
spoilers or a paw.
Yeah, exactly. And then we can go in and kind of like and to speak through our parts we liked,
Sure.
things we were like, did that work? And then we can go through it and say what our overall thoughts were. So Charlie, why don't you're good at these recaps, so we can go from there. And then Chris, obviously, if you want to stop Charlie, because Charlie tends to sometimes go into it, you can stop him and give your thoughts or say, what the hell was that?
Let's see here. Well, I mean, you already gave the recap, but yeah, we do get the very likable Sam Richardson showing up. He was in a great show called the Detroiters, which was on Comedy Central.
Was it Detroiters? Yeah, was there like a car company?
Veep. And Veep, yeah, and he was most recently on Ted Lasso because he was the African warlord guy, or who he was, some guy who was trying to buy the team. Or something.
He was from I think a Kenyan. He was trying to buy out Sam. Yeah, but he's also really good. He's like one of the main characters in the After Party, which you should definitely watch if you have Apple TV Plus.
Oh, very good. But anyway, so he's a very affable forest ranger who's moving to town. He's kind of pee-whipped by his, I think, ex-girlfriend who keeps calling him.
He didn't realize it was his ex.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that he gets to the town and meets the world's most adorable postal carrier, which is my girlfriend, Melania Weintraub, who instantly befriends him, and they're walking around and chit-chatting, and pretty obvious that she digs on him, but he's too dumb to pick up the cues. We also meet the kind of the woodsman,
Flint, Emerson Flint.
Yeah, the isolated guy who, you're immediately getting bad vibes because, he's covered in bearskin and got knives and stuff. Well, this guy's going to be trouble. So he's staying at the local inn. The local innkeeper's husband has disappeared. Thought, the innkeeper thought he'd ran off, with another woman. Turns out they very quickly find his mangled body under the porch, which doesn't look good for anybody. Otherwise, very distraught. So, and initially you think that he didn't do it. Also, the town is in the middle of what could be a big pipeline. So there's a scumbag corporate guy there trying to sell it to the residents. Some will buy out, some won't. You also have an environmentalist who's kind of a very uptight woman. She runs an analysis of furs she picks off of the carcass and this and that, and figuring out there's a mythical creature out there. But then people start dying, or people start getting stabbed or getting their hand bit off. One of the you have the and they were real right-wing nutcases, the crafts lady and her husband.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's the biggest part of this, and I don't know if I'm the only one to follow this. All of these characters were very weird, over the top.
Yeah.
We had the mechanic, and the mechanic who was kind of over the top weird, but her boyfriend or husband who was a weirdo kind of stoner.
Yeah.
You got the rich couple, which was Cheyenne Jackson and a fan favorite, Harvey Guillen from What They Do in the Shadows.
Right? Yeah.
And then
the other guy was was on 30 Rock. He was one of the cast members later in the show. The other of the couple.
Yes.
Yeah, the
same-sex couple. Yeah.
Yeah, we had the let's see, the one couple that was the weird lady with the dog, who wanted to open the craft shop, and then her husband who was a kind of a weird sexual predator kind of guy.
Pretty much, yeah.
He's very creepy.
Yeah, we got the owner of the inn, who's just a nice lady. That we did get to your point, the guy who has the pipeline, who is trying to gather votes to get them.
Right.
Basically, all sell their property
Right.
so they can make money and goes through. So I think we've covered, and then Flint, who is the mountain man out in the middle
Yeah.
of nowhere. So I think
Right.
we've covered off on all of the people, their various
Motivations,
motives.
and yes, becomes very much
Exactly.
like Clue or like, Poirot,
Yeah.
like a Haunting in Venice kind of Murder on the Orient Express kind of deal, trying to figure out what's going on. Because it was, in the night there's a blizzard, they all end up being stranded at the inn. The craft lady's husband gets attacked by a creature that bites his hand off, but they're able to save him. But the creature, they don't see it; it gets away. And people are getting picked off one by one. They go out in the storm and try to hunt it. And the pipeline guy, is a hunter too. So he's going to hunt.
Is it weird that they decided that even though one person almost got killed they were all together, thought, strength in numbers. I mean, Chris, then they said, screw this, we're all going to separate and we're going to be stronger by ourselves.
It's a horror trope 101. You got to divide to be conquered. So they go out and there's strong indication that the mountain man guy is the one, and there's strong indication that the pipeline guy is the one because he has a gun. Then the scientist lady kind of goes crazy and she ends up dead because she quote unquote shoots herself, and so you just don't know who's it, what's it. And then the same-sex couple, I think one of them gets attacked and murdered by the SNL lady, the crazy craft lady.
And she wants her craft shop. She wants
exactly,
because they won't sell.
Yeah, the same-sex couple won't sell. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I in the final analysis, while others get separated, it ends up in a kind of a shootout in the street between the gas company guy, the pipeline guy, and
who's a werewolf hunter apparently too, right?
Of course, because why not? Yeah, because he
was night goggles and his silver arrow crossbow. Yeah.
So he was so it was a showdown. There was the one guy from the same-sex couple plus our two main characters. The hillbillies managed to get killed off. In the end of it, kind of everybody is dead, although you don't know where the innkeeper is. She's kind of off, not know where she's at. Our postal lady, obviously, Sam Richardson gets shot, so she helps him back into the bar, which was where they kind of kicked things off when he first came to town. There's a 90s nostalgia bar with axe throwing. Yeah, that wasn't Freddy foreshadowing right there. And a jukebox and stuff. And he is, kind of bleeding, but for some reason he's up and walking around. And then he stumbles onto a very convenient room full of evidence that everything has been perpetrated by the AT&T lady. She's a bad guy, but to put a capper on that...
Not a bad guy, right? Oh, wait.
Yeah.
She was.
To put a capper on that, she is the actual friggin' werewolf. Yeah, exactly. And she was just kind of, she staged everything. Her real motivation is
she's hungry.
She's hungry. Yeah, she just wants to eat.
It's that tum-tum. The nut, and anybody who feels like, there's a nice girl who likes me for who I am,
and then she shakes him down and says,
"You really think I would be the nice girl that fell for you?"
Yeah, exactly. Like, and I'm gonna kill you, but let me really make you feel like shit first. So naturally, there's a big slug out. With axes and with the more 90s music coming back on, and in the end the mountain man shows up at the last minute and stabs her, but it's always the trope in the horror films that never trust that the bad guy's really dead, because then she pops back up again and there's more fighting, and then she finally gets shot and killed by the innkeeper, who is alive. And then, let's see, there was a huge explosion. I know with the pipe, there was a little pipeline monument in the middle of town. That was pretty great.
Like a gas relief. It was like the monument to the unknown soldier that would never go out, but it was just for the gas company.
Exactly.
It got shot.
Very touching.
Yeah, so that's kind of where it ends with the innkeeper, basically being you felt bad for her the whole time because her husband was killed at the beginning of it.
Right.
And then she was looking for someone to console her. It was so funny. He was like, "Oh, I could use a hug." Nope, I need you to go away. I thought that
Go
was
away.
kind of a sad point.
Well, yeah, and in the end, she lives and slays the werewolf.
So, and then we can probably get into this. So, Chris, considering everything we talked about, the plot, where did you land on this movie?
First of all, when I was started to watch the movie, when I saw Ubisoft, I was like, "Oh no, what's going on?"
No,
Yeah, I know.
Ruh-roh.
So weird, so random.
Yeah, I mean, I was excited because I like Sam Richardson is great. Like, I mean, to my earlier, as Charlie was saying, like, he's just great. He is that likable guy that you can just see anywhere,
affable
right?
gents,
Like
yeah.
affable, exactly. And I thought it was great to just follow him. And he's just like, he's likable, but he's like he can still, he gives that like doofy vibes, but like it's fine. And I'm mad at myself because I felt like I knew who the killer, who the werewolf was going to be the entire time, but the movie does kind of like give you like that sense of doubt for a lot of like, are you sure it's going to be her? Like her? And I was like, well, I guess it could be this person. So they gave everyone kind of reasons why they could be the werewolf.
Right.
And
Yeah, I was not so sharp to pick up on that.
Yeah,
I don't know. I guess I
It's
must
always the mobile
company.
company shill.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, you had you had a corporate shill in the movie, and then you had someone who plays a corporate shill outside of the movie. So I probably should have figured out that it was her as soon as the other guy was dead.
Right. So I don't know. It was just, but I think overall it was fine. I mean, I'm glad it was only like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Because if it was any longer, it
That
probably
helps.
would have been overstated its welcome, so to speak.
Yeah.
But and the funny thing though, I did go on YouTube to see if anyone else had any thoughts about this stuff, and there was a particular person that was talking about it, and yeah, I don't know, like it was funny because Sam Richardson I thought did a pretty good job of being funny, but I think the rest of the cast was kind of like, like I don't know, it was kind of hit or miss with the humor there. But when this movie came out, I totally forgot that the whole, like, Ubisoft was going through this whole thing about kind of like that Me Too issue, or and all that stuff, like there was like a lot of sexual harassment stuff that was going on there at the time. So like some of the jokes, I was like, "Ugh, I don't know if this is really a good thing for Ubi to to be part of."
Yeah, the guy who wanted to pat her butt, and then
Right.
Oh boy, no,
yeah.
I didn't have that
Yeah.
context.
Does Ubi want to be a part of that stuff?
Yeah. Yeah,
So
didn't come off good.
and to Charlie's point, like I didn't realize that this movie was this old. So to
Yeah.
speak,
No,
right?
I thought that this was a direct to Hulu production, like, oh cool, this is out for just in
Man,
time
you
for
guys make
Halloween.
it sound like this movie came out like 1997.
Well, I just never heard it. No, that was the People Under the Stairs that we watched in week one, and that was a joy. That was a joy. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
So
But I thought it was fine for what it was. It was a quick movie to just kind of watch, and I guess if you have nothing else better to do,
or have to watch it for a podcast.
That was the endorsement. And if you're really bored,
I was a quote on the back that box of the DVD. I watched this for a podcast.
What was that? What was that quote from Secret Invasion? Deeply bored.
Deeply bored. Deeply bored and intensely irrelevant.
Again, like Sam Rich, I like Sam Richardson, so like that was the reason why I was like, oh yeah, I'm excited to try to at least watch this. So
my goodness.
Yeah, definitely a standout in the movie itself. Charlie, your thoughts?
I enjoyed it. Again, you throw my gal pal in there, and she's all bubbly and light and fun, and that was enjoyable. I loved seeing Sam. I've enjoyed him in things that I've seen him in, but again, it was very tongue in cheek. Kind of reminded me of maybe like Scream Queens, or I was going to say like American Horror Story, but there's no part of that that's fun, or something else that's horror related that's enjoyable. But yeah, I would say Scream Queens would be the kind of the closest analogy to it. If I was to reference it back to something else, but it was great. Yeah, I was a dum-dum, had no clue. I guess I was pretty sure it was the
Charlie would have been killed. He would have been the first death by the werewolf.
I wouldn't have seen it coming.
You're so nice to me. Oh,
yeah.
Why are you killing
Here's
me?
the thing that I don't get. Here's the thing I don't get, right? There's that moment where that guy gets his hand bit off, right?
Yeah, right.
Would he have not seen her transform back? Because she was like right there. Because like at the end,
it was too dark in the shadows.
Yeah, sure.
I do absolutely love that she was like Benicio del Toro Wolfman. She didn't go like American Werewolf in London Wolfman, but she was just like, I got some fur but I'm still
slightly
in my
hairy
clothes.
with some ears.
Yeah, and she was
and apparently her clothes didn't rip off her body. Right?
No, she was in a sexy tank top, which is all right. She's a little hairy, but it's okay. You can have a look at. She's still sexy. Yeah. But yeah, no, I didn't get it. I was pretty sure it was, the obvious red herring was the company man with all his knives and shit. So you figure, no, it really can't be him. But yeah, I had a good feeling it was the craft lady. The rednecks were too dumb. The same-sex couple seemed kind of harmless. But yeah, no, I mean, you're right. It's obvious and not obvious at the same time that it was the AT&T lady. So, Melania, why is it? Why are the pretty ones always so crazy? Or a werewolf?
That's true. Yeah, it usually goes that way. Well, myself, I was really excited for this movie because I like this type of movie. I like whodunit. I like werewolves. I like the cast. I'm like, I'm really excited for this, and I'm like, the execution just did not deliver for me. I did not care for. I felt like there was a lot of people mumbling and talking over each other in this movie.
Yeah,
I'm like, and then it's like the characters trying to be like all over the topping each other was not helping anything.
Over the topping.
Yeah, it just didn't work. And then it's like, okay, who do we have left that's not a ridiculous idiot? Okay, do we have to take them serious or not? And it was just a lot of weird, like, it almost felt like this was a board game. And these are characters playing like these wacky neighbors who keep showing up and they all have quirks.
Wacky werewolf board game, the movie.
Exactly. Yeah. So that part, I did enjoy the end part of it. I thought that was fun. But there was a severe lack of werewolf in this, to be honest.
Yeah, well, you get a good 5 to 7 minutes at the end, if that.
I mean, all you got was like the generators were destroyed, but they were done with a knife. So that really didn't need a werewolf to do it. Yeah, supposedly. And then other than that, like you just got the innkeeper's husband died at the beginning and you just saw him dragged away. So this could have been a flim flam where there really was no werewolf. So maybe that would have been more effective.
Yeah, that's
it was a werewolf and we got so
like
little of it. Yeah. Especially if she's supposed to be really hungry. She really didn't eat anybody. The one guy she killed, there was a body. And maybe a little bit of stuff was taken out, and then she got a little bit of a hand.
Yeah. So it's kind of like she was and she wasn't the werewolf.
That's her motivation. Yeah, she didn't have any.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a mixed bag. I thought it was, once again, I my expectations were higher because I thought it was going to really deliver, be a smarter type of.
No, not at all. No, I didn't.
Not so much.
I didn't think. I get Sam Richardson being, a comedic presence. I guess I didn't really expect him to do an Oscar performing turn as a serious
I thought of like more of like the Clue type where it's actually like pretty smart and done well versus this felt like it was kind of like it needed a lot more to be successful.
It needed more werewolf. Bottom line.
I thought that Ubisoft wouldn't deliver. I thought Ubisoft wouldn't deliver. Oh well. But I'm glad I picked this one because it was kind of like as we talk about the rest of the movies we're gonna do House and then we're gonna do Pet Sematary Bloodlines.
Yes, which
probably gonna be a little bit more dour, so I'm glad we're doing something a little bit more fun.
Yeah, I have seen the Pet Sematary one because we just got rolling on it and then watched the 2019 movie of which that is actually spun from, not the 1990 not the 1989 movie. I had to research that, but all right, okay, ratings out of 10. Wolf's Paws.
They have,
Let's
they have 10 claws or
10
they
claws.
4? And I don't know how that works.
We'll go, or you could go, let's see, 4, 8, 8, 9, 18, 16. Rating out of 16?
That's so weird.
Come on.
We'll go out of 10, out of 10 wolves
Out of
paws.
10.
We'll go, Chris. What's your paw rating?
Well, Sam's the only reason why I watched this movie, so I'm gonna give it a 4.
Ooh, 4 paws. Ouch. Well, that's at least a whole wolf. You know,
Yeah,
two
I
in
guess
front,
so.
two in the
Yeah.
back. Todd.
Charlie?
No.
Oh.
Showdown. You owe me a Coke. All right. My expectations were not at Todd's level. I thought, Sam Richardson, it's going to be silly, funny, ha-ha. So while I thought it was no gem, I thought this could at least rate 6 paws.
Oh,
I thought we'd get like a AT&T pop right there, Charlie.
yeah.
Well, I didn't want to seem too biased, but yeah.
Sam versus AT&T girl.
If I put in my sweet AT&T girl, it's a 14 out of 10 paws. But yes, for the movie overall, we'll go with the 6 paws. So it's a whole wolf plus one with his front paws up on the dashboard.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm going with a 5 because of the Ace of Base song. Although I didn't get it. In fact, I really never figured out how long she was a postal carrier. If the guy died and then she took over his route, I thought she was a fake. It didn't make any sense. Like she's been here. Yeah. How long has that guy been dead? I don't know.
I thought it was just all a fake out. But yeah, no, he died like the night before. No, it was 30 days later. Don't you remember?
Oh, okay.
29.5 days later.
Charlie's really trying his best.
There was a title card. Yeah, I mean, come on, I got to help my girl out, Melania.
Okay, I'll give it a 5.
Add the C3 on X, Melania. Baby, I love you.
It's getting 5 out of 10 for the Ace of Base song.
I saw the sign which Sam Richardson didn't see. She is a werewolf. Doot, 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 doot.
Poor guy.
Oh my gosh. Oh, well, that is a wrap to week 3 of Shocktober. Chris, this was a blast. We've had highs and lows. We had you on for The Flash. It was very low. We had you on for this. It was slightly higher. But where do people find you out there?
Yeah. Again, thanks so much, guys, for having me on here. I always love being on here and talking about just comics and everything geeky over here. But you guys can find me at 1inch1D. We are on Twitter at TC1inch1D. Linktree, I think it's linktr.ee/TC1inch1D. It's got all of our links to everything that we do on the internet. So I will. I
website, Chris. Oh, you do Linktree.
Well, kind of like we're part of the QTB network, so we have our links there as well. So it's all good.
Good.
We'll put it in the show notes.
You got it. Todd, where do people find you talking about fantasy football and the like?
Threads is really where I'm spending most of my time now. At Secret Friends, it's actually Secret Friends Unite has its full Threads name, which is great, and Teoxtra on Threads as well. I'm still over on Twitter if you need to get stuff there, but it really is leading into Threads because I'm worried that we're going to have to start paying for that service, and I really don't want to.
Well, I'm glad I at least have my name on Threads because you get it from Facebook, which is not actually my name, but on Threads, I'm C3 Carpenter, spell out the C3 part. I do stay kind of quasi-active over on X Twitter at the C3. When it goes away, it goes away. What am I going to do? Very also active on our Secret Friends Discord, which is a great place to talk all things geek, and it's available to everybody. As always, my lovely wife April and I do run the USS Grand Petoskey. That is one of the biggest chapters of Starfleet, the international Star Trek fan club in the world. We are based here in West Michigan, but I actually run Region 13, which is Michigan and Eastern Canada. So if you're a Trekker within the sound of my voice, give a good Google to Region 13 SFI and or the USS Grand Petoskey. Drop me a note, and happy to connect you with other Trekkers. And with that, friends, one more time, thank you for joining us. I'm going to tell you that sharing is caring. To keep on trucking.
Be the hero, not the villain.
In a truck.
I saw the sign. It opened up my eyes.
I saw the sign. Do.
This podcast is part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network. Visit secretfriendsunite.com for more great shows, articles, news, reviews, and more. Secret Friends Unite podcasts are available on Apple, Google, Spotify, and other podcast services around the world. If you'd like to be part of the conversation, you can join us on Facebook or our new Discord server, or follow @SecretFriendsU on Twitter. Please subscribe to Secret Friends Unite on YouTube and visit our merch store at tpublic.com. Just search Secret Friends Unite. Thanks for listening.